And hello and welcome to Rhonda's Weekly Top 10. This is a new feature that we're doing it on the right track with Admins Rock, and I'm hoping that weekly you will be joining us and adding your opinion to the top 10 question of the week, where I can summarize all the answers and put out this video for everyone to find out what's recommended for you. So this week we were talking about books that I recommend, and what I didn't want to get into was administrative specific books. They're really more business books. I read a business book a month, and there's lots of different topics that I read on, and some of them really give me great ideas. They get me thinking a little bit different. They challenge the way I think, and I'm hoping that you're going to like the top 10 list that we've come up with as well. Now, in true honesty and transparency, I've not read all of them. I will let you know the books that I've recommended and that I've read, and I'll tell you why I've read them, suggested them for you. And then what we'll do is come with, add others to the chat box, continue to recommend so that people can continue to read really great books. So the first one that I want to recommend, I have read. I've read almost all of Brene Brown's books, and Dare to Lead is a really challenging book for you to think about what you do and why you do it. Now, if you're not familiar with Brene Brown, what to do is go to Netflix, and she has a Netflix documentary special on her stage. She's on stage delivering, I think it's about an hour and a half keynote, and she's just really captivating and exciting. She's written many different books. She's a very smart woman. You can apply it to all areas of your life, and I'm a pretty big Brene Brown fan. So start the list with Dare to Lead. The second book is a series of books by Patrick, and I'm going to say his name wrong, Lencioni. I apologize, Patrick, for saying your name wrong. He writes a really quick read book, and this is The Ideal Team Player. So this is a good book for anyone who works on any kind of team. I can certainly recommend. I pretty much read everything that Patrick writes as well. They're nice, short, parable type stories, so they're a quick, easy, not heavy, make a lot of notes kind of read, but you see yourself in the characters and you learn very, very quickly. So big fan of Patrick's books as well. The third one is another book that I have also recommended to many people and have read, and it's called Radical Candor. Now, the name itself is a little off-putting because it sounds like being blunt and direct in your communication, and that's not what it is at all. I really recommended this book for those that attended my workshop From Admin to Strategic Partner. You want to be able to work well with your executives, with your teams, and what you need to be able to have is radical candor, the ability to have open and safe conversations. Now, Kim writes about creating an entire organization that values these open and safe conversations so that we don't become yes men or women, so that we just don't follow the lead. We actually question why we're doing things, and it gives you the permission to say, I don't understand, or I think we should be able to do something a different way. First of all, I think it's really good for personal relationships as well, to be able to have that open, honest conversation, but certainly with your executives and with your teams. Also, not a really difficult read. For those of you that are in leadership positions, definitely gives you some extra tips on how to be a great leader, and she has recently updated this book, and there's a lot of online things that you can use as well. So pretty big fan of that book. Now, this is a book that I haven't read, but I do love the title, by Amy Jensu, The 5 Essential Principles to Bringing Your Best Self Every Day. So while I've not read it, there was quite a few recommendations on this book, some really good conversation as to why we should read this book. And if you go onto my Facebook page, Rhonda Scarf on the Right Track, you can join any of these conversations anytime. You can also join in the YouTube discussion, Twitter, LinkedIn, where we're having several different discussions on books. But this one was recommended by a couple of people, so it's probably my November book that I'll read next. Pound the Stone by Joshua Metcalf was also recommended highly by one of our readers as a lot of different ways to approach your life and to approach some of the challenges that we come across. Reading the reviews made me feel like, yeah, this is probably one of those books that I need to add to the list as well. Angela Duckworth, who, not sure if you've heard of, wrote Grit, the Power of Passion and Perseverance. Just a fantastic title on its own. Also, I have not read this book, but reading what people say about it and just the title alone makes me think that this is a recommended book for us all to read. If you don't like any of the books that I've recommended, please jump in and tell us why. So it's okay if you don't like one of the books. It's okay if somebody recommends something you're like, oh, that wasn't for me. But be honest and tell us what you didn't like about it or why you didn't feel it should be on our top 10 list. Good Boss, Bad Boss has been around for a while. And certainly we read it and we read and go, uh-oh, I've done that. Or I've experienced that. Or, right, that's not the right way to do things. So those reminders, whether we're in a supervisory leadership boss position or not, the things that make people good to work with and not good to work with. Now, my experience is we tend to learn the most from those people that fall into the bad boss category, but we need to learn from the good boss category as well. So please give us your feedback on that book. And How Full Is Your Bucket by Tom and Donald here. And certainly one of these books, again, I've not read this one, but one of these books that came highly recommended so that we can take care of ourselves before we take care of other people. And we know how important that is, especially in times of crisis as we're experiencing right now. So making sure that your bucket is full. Number 9 on our list is a book that I've read by James Clear, Atomic Habits, and it really questions what you do, when you do, why you do it, and to get you to rethink what your habits are, whether they're getting up in the morning and immediately going to your social media or immediately going to the gym. Like, what are the habits that are really going to make you successful? I know that I made several changes to my routine after reading James's book, and I agree that you will probably question those habits and create some new habits. And number 10 on our top list is another book that I've read by Amanda Setley, The Agility Advantage. And I put this on the list in no particular order because now is the time for us to be agile. The last 7 months of this crisis and pandemic have required us to change very quickly, but to have the ability to be agile quickly, regularly, and stress-free is something that we all need to learn. So thank you for listening to our top 10 books of non-admin related recommended reading for you this month. I hope you continue to add to the list. We will continue to update the list and join this week's conversation on the top 10 as you find me anywhere on social media. Remember, admins rock.